welcome to a new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I hope you're doing well since we last spoke. I am here in very humid New Hampshire today. It's a Saturday morning this time because I'm going off on vacation tomorrow for a week, and the shop will be in the very capable hands of my team. So I'm in early to record, and I just switched the AC off, and I even did my hair for you this morning. And I stepped outside and I went poof. So it is what it is. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. So I hope you're doing well. We continue on in this crazy time, and now it's summer, so it's hot. All we want to do is maybe go to the beach or the lake, or, you know, just get out of Dodge. So that's what we're doing. We're going to the coast of Maine, and maybe I'll have some video here from my holidays, because actually by the time you see this I'll be back. So I brought my bouncers. We can talk about that in a bit. So yes, let's see. Thank you for watching, and thank you if you have joined our newsletter mailing list. If you haven't, you can do that at thewoollythistle.com. We spell woolly with 2 L's here, which is the British way, of course. And yeah, follow us on Instagram and Facebook because, you know, you'll get all the latest and greatest stuff there too. But the main way we talk to you is through our email, so it's worth being on the list for that. So yeah, thank you so much for shopping with us during our sale that we had last week, or by the time you see this, a couple of weeks ago. It was a great success. They usually are, and you know, kept us busy. We've got all the orders out pretty much now, so if you shopped the sale with us, thank you for that, and I hope you got a good deal. So let's talk about what I'm knitting on right now. Actually, before that, let's do the giveaway winner from last time. Picked at random, and also because of the great name, we have Puddle Glum. So Puddle Glum said, thanks so much for the reminders that we can get through this again, and all you are doing to connect us. Yeah, thank you, Puddle Glum. You are the winner of a $25 gift certificate to the Woolly Thistle. So just go to send us an email at info@thewoollythistle.com and put in the subject line winner, and we will get this out to you. And we'll do that again. We do it pretty much every episode, I think. We do a $25 giveaway for a gift certificate to the Woolly Thistle. And actually this time, you do just have to leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and give us a thumbs up. But I would like to ask you to comment on something particular this time, particular in a general way. I would love to know why you knit, because I've been thinking about that myself a lot. Like, what is it about knitting that makes me, you know, such a fan of the knitting? You know, it could be the yarn, it could be that it helps me cope with life, it could be that it's seen me through some tough times, it could be, you know, just for my mental health, it could be because I love the yarn. Did I say that? I love the yarn. It could be the sense of community, it could be you know, a form of activism for you. I don't know. I'd love to know why you knit. Now, so leave that in your comment if you wouldn't mind just sharing why you knit. So I've got a new phone because I shattered my other phone, my last phone, when I was recording this last time, and this phone is now securely fixed in there. It's not going to jump out and land on the floor. But I don't know where the camera is on this one. All right, I think I found it. So I think the camera's over there, so I'm going to try and look over there, because then I'm looking at you, and we'll see how I do. Okay, so what am I knitting on right now? Well, you can see right here. So shall we talk about this? This is Patricia Fortune's Sunshine on the Path hat. Here we go. And I was talking about this in the last episode because I fell in love with it. I love a cat paw, and I thought this was a cat paw type lace pattern, but really it's called a Trondheim Rose, and it's a bit bigger and a little bit more intricate than just a cat paw, because it's got this middle eyelet here. So anyway, I fell in love with it, and I had to knit it right away, and I was going to cast on when I finished recording the last episode, and I actually did do that. So here it is, and it's going to get all tangled up. You start with casting on just a few stitches here, and then you increase to the full width, and then you knit back and forth all in garter stitch with the lace pattern. So you can see my needle is running here, and I just finished now this, so I'm going to do another point down here, which I think is lovely, and there's a really nice detail somewhere. Here it is, if I can reach it. So I'm going to show you. Look at that edging. I've never done that before. If you turn it over, now this could be something super simple that everybody else knows, but I didn't know this, and it's very easy to do, and I'll let Patricia spill the beans on that in her pattern. But what a lovely edging, and it's got stretch. Whoa. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, oh God, this is gonna make me sweat. I'm looking forward to wearing this all winter long, maybe with a black coat. See, I think it looks nice with a dark, oh, yeah. So yeah, so this will come to a point and it'll get flung over, and oh my God, it's so lovely. And garter stitch is just so scrumptious, isn't it? This is being knit in Rauma Finullgarn, which is what the pattern is written for. This is color 4133, and I just love it. And I've been knitting on this fairly monogamously all week, so there's not a lot of progress on anything else. But here is something else. This is Vanilla Sweater number 4. You're all very familiar with her, and she is 466 color, and I've done a little detail, changed up the sleeve. This sleeve here, I don't know if you can see. Okay, here's the sleeve. So I've done very quick decreases right at the end, and then I did an I-cord bind off, and so it's going to have that sort of balloon like sleeve. I didn't change the rest of the sleeve, I just did this at the end. Right, and then I thought maybe for the neckline I would try and do an I-cord neckline as well, just an applied I-cord to that. So we still are, I'm no further forward. The sleeve is still here, so that's still to be done, finished, and the neckline, but then a blocking and it's done. So I've been kind of ignoring this a little bit while I've been knitting on this. Ooh, don't do that. Been knitting on this, and yeah, just trying to sort of pace myself with that. Someone asked if I would design the vanilla sweater in DK so we could knit it with Strickgarn. Good idea. So we'll see. Of course, those of you who are getting familiar with Anne Budd's book would be able to do that themselves, wouldn't you? How would you do that? I would do it first by getting the Strickgarn and doing a swatch, finding out what my gauge is. Then in her book, look at what, look at the gauge, and then it tells you how many to cast on. That's it. And then you just go from there, minding your gauge on every instruction. It's brilliant. Okay, so the other thing that I will be picking up again very soon, and I don't know which is the front and which is the back. Oh dear, oh no, this is the back, okay. Is this little sweater. This is not for me. This is for my daughter, who's 14 and beautiful. So I haven't got very far, but what I did do was I put the body on waste yarn, and I picked up the stitches for the sleeve. I know some of us prefer to knit sleeves first. I'm actually in that camp for the most part, but it just means that instead of putting the sleeves on the waste yarn and knitting the body, now you're putting the body on and you're knitting the sleeves. So that'll be nice to have that done when I get to the body. I'm doing eyelets. I showed you this last time for the Raglan shaping, and had a nice little cast on in the back there. This is Jamieson Smith 2-ply, and it is FC51, I want to say. It's a pink, all about the pinks. So I'll just pop that there. So this is everything I'm knitting on right here. I'll put you back. There, all right. Yes, so I'm loving my knitting right now. I'm enjoying the pinks, but I am already moving into blue. And of course it's still Rauma Finullgarn. What is up with that? This is 4139. I love this wool. Just look at all the different applications of it, you know, and both of these are at larger gauges because I think the needle I'm knitting, and don't quote me, I think it's a US 5 I'm knitting the hap on, and the sweater of course is a US 6, but I'm going to go down to US 1.5 and try this for socks. So when I'm on vacation, I'm going to be knitting a wee pair of shorty socks in this, and then I'm going to walk around and abuse them. But maybe not right away because it is hot. But I want to knit a pair of socks in Finulgarn just for myself to see what it's all about. Yeah, and so let's talk about this bouncer here. You might have seen this before. I don't know if I've worn this on the episode before. This is the Lovage Sweater by Marie Wallin. She originally designed it for a Rowan yarn. I think it was it fine tweed? I can't remember, but it's since discontinued. And I knitted mine. I was very inspired, and maybe we can put a picture here or here of Emily of Fibertown. She had knitted this in some yarn that she got from the Woolly Thistle, along with some leftovers that she had, and she just put it all together. She knitted this body in a Manx yarn from Blacker, and then she used her own leftovers to do the colour work. So I loved it on her, really loved it, so I wanted to knit one. And I went with Jamieson Smith Shetland Supreme, which comes in 50-gram balls, and it's slightly heavier than the 2-ply, but you can see that they play well together, and I actually use it throughout the colour work too, and it's fine, you know, it's not that much of a difference. So I used Jamieson Smith Shetland Supreme. Can't remember what colour this is, but it's a lovely colour, isn't it? It's warm. And then I used Jamieson Smith with the Supreme out, you know, Jamieson Smith 2-ply jumper weight with the Supreme throughout. And I'm very happy. This sweater, as I tend to do, I knitted pretty much twice. The first one, the colours were different, and I found that they were too bright for me, but I would have made that work. But the problem was, here it is. It was gigantic. Look. Can you even look at that? It's huge. But isn't it gorgeous? I do really like the colors now, but let me stand up and show you. What was I thinking? So when I put this on, it was huge. It was just too big. I need to make a cowl out of this or something, don't I? I can make a wee short skirt out of it. You can see where I separated for the sleeves. But I suppose a very good thing about knitting this twice was that I got to play a lot. So when I finished this first very large, very large sweater the first time and put it on, I realized right away that it didn't fit. You should always try things on as you go, the best you can. And I hadn't done that. So it didn't fit. So I knew I had to rip it out, and I took that chance to play with more muted colors. Now this part, all the way down to here, was on here. So it was kind of like that, right? So I quite liked the top. I was okay with the brightness of that, but then once we got to here, I had this very light white color, and I wanted it to match this more and tone down. So I did. So, oh my God, I cut my knitting. So I basically cut it here. And what you do, you don't just like chop at it. what you do when you're cutting something this way, you can unravel it. So you cut one stitch and then you pull the yarn, just like you're ripping something, right? So you cut one stitch and you do your best to undo it as neatly as possible, and then you put that back on the needles. So then I had this to here, actually to that green and pink area, and then there's a blue area. So I put it back on the needles to here. Now the pattern's written bottom up, and now I was working top down. And so I did a couple of rows of just this blue with nothing else. I did it as sort of okay, we're going from here and never changing things, and I'm just going to do a few rows of plain, more a dark blue, whereas this was a very bright blue, wasn't it? And then I just kept knitting down. But that's why I did the blue. That's why I did just that solid stripe there, because I had to do some fudging of numbers. This was written for this size, which was too big, so I had to go down in stitch count, and I did that in the solid color, so I wasn't mucking around with color work. I could just reduce the number of stitches on the needle in that solid color, and you would never know. And I still can't see where I did it, but I probably did it evenly all the way around. And then I was able to, you know, get down to a size on the pattern that made sense for me, and then I started the color work. And I knitted and I knitted and I knitted. Now, one other thing I did, you'll notice here the arm breaks off during this tree section, but on here, there's the tree section, and I don't do my arms until down here, like down here. And that just made it, when I did this, the whole sweater was lifting up. So I also figured out how to split for the sleeves higher up. So we did that, and I did that in the color work section, but it was not difficult to do once I understood how the color work section was working and where I could put my break. And I also, I believe, started increasing in here in between these trees. I started putting increases throughout so that my circumference was getting a little bit bigger, because I didn't feel like knitting all this again. So I started increasing gently so that this went up to the same stitch count as this. So basically, it was far too big for me up here before. Unfortunately, it fit me more around here. So what I had to do was make this smaller and then let it grow to fit here. And that's what I did. So this part was knitted only once. But what I had to do here was again cut it. So I was left with this large waist on the needles, and then I was knitting down here on the needles. And then once I got the stitch count to match, and I did it slowly from here down to here, and then it matched when I was ready to join, I Kitchenered it. That was probably the hardest part of all of this. I'm not a fan of Kitchenering. Well, I like Kitchenering, but I don't do it well. So to do it all the way around, and I can see with a critical eye, you know, where it's a bit, but not so bad really. And I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, but the Kitchenering was a little tricky to do on so many stitches. So if there's any tricks out there for managing lots of stitches when you're Kitchenering, and if you don't know what Kitchenering is, it is a form of joining live stitches on this needle and live stitches on this needle, and then with a sewing needle you sew in a certain order to create what looks like another row of stitches between, but it's joining the two. And I don't know if you know this, you probably do because you're nuts like me about knitting, is that Kitchener comes from the general of the British Army way back in World War I. What was his name? I can't remember if he was a General Kitchener or Admiral Kitchener or something like that, high up in the army. And back in World War I, the soldiers who were fighting in the trenches were getting foot rot. And so there was a call to action for the women at home to start knitting socks, and they were knitting socks, but they hadn't figured out how to graft the toe together yet. And so there'd be maybe a 3-needle bind off at the toe, and these poor soldiers in the trenches were getting foot rot because that seam would rub on their toes, and then their feet were wet all the time. It just sounds horrible. So Admiral Kitchener, or whatever rank he was, put out a call saying, do this. And I don't know if he'd worked it out, but somebody had worked out how to graft it so that it's a seamless join, and that's what we do with our socks now for the most part. And so it became the Kitchener stitch, and that saved a lot of soldiers' feet from foot rot because there was no seam there to rub. Isn't that interesting? That's what I love. That's one of the things I love about knitting, because I asked you to tell me what you love about knitting. One of the things I love about knitting is the history and the context in which we find ourselves knitting throughout history. You know, I love the story of Madame Defarge, of A Tale of Two Cities, knitting secret code into her knitting. There's lots of stuff like that, and I love it. I love it. Right, so that's the story of the Lovage by me meaning knitted by me, designed by Marie Wallin, and it is a favorite sweater. I do like to wear this. In fact, I think I wore this when By Hand came to visit us, and the picture in the magazine, I'm wearing that. So yes, that's the story of my bouncers today. Let's see what else I've got for you. Right, I've told you everything I'm knitting on right now. There is the Hansel hat, but I didn't bring that in. I think I am going to bring that on my trip to Maine though, and see if I can't get a move on with that border so that I can show you that finished. It's still at the giant shower cap stage where it's all on the needles and like you put it on your head. Okay, so what else do we have? The Knitting Buddy program is still going strong in our Ravelry group. So if you're looking for some friends through this COVID nightmare, just let us know and we will match you up. Maggie has been managing that superbly, and I do hear from people who are in their groups and enjoying the new friends they're making. So we are keeping that going because, you know, we still need it. Let's see. Do check out our Stuck at Home thread as well as what we're watching. That's all in Ravelry in our group as well. Now, there is some stuff going on with Ravelry, and I'm sure you've heard about that, and I am watching carefully. I haven't heard from any of my customers directly that they're affected by the accessibility of the website, but I would love to hear from you if you have strong feelings about it, because I'm looking to you guys to figure out, you know, what needs to happen. I personally like the new format, but I don't like it at the same time. Like, it looks as fun, but I did click back to the old one. I don't know if that's just a sign of my years. I don't know, or just that, you know, I like what I like. So I have gone back to the old one and it's fine. I do like the little icons and things though, so those are pretty and fun. But what do you think? What's going on with Ravelry? I'm sure you all have heard about it, because I know we're always in Ravelry ourselves. But there are claims of people getting quite unwell or having migraines, and in some cases seizures from the new website. So that's very serious, and I want to hear from you if you have any trouble with it in terms of the woolly thistle making its home there for our group and so on. So do let me know either way if you have a feeling about that. For now, we are continuing to use it because, you know, I've been able to go back to the old version and anyone can do that. So I hope that that would provide help and, you know, get us over the hump. And I hope that Ravelry is listening to, you know, the feedback they're getting and making appropriate changes. I was super excited to receive an email from the Lina team earlier this week as I record this, that they were running a 5th print. We were completely sold out last time of this, and I thought that was it. It was gone away. They weren't doing any more. But But it seems like they went on vacation, took some time off, and came back and said, you know what, we're going to run another print. And I said, fantastic. So this is now available as a pre-order. We expect to get our copies in the middle of September. You might be one of the ones who wanted this before and missed out. So I really urge you, if that's the case and you want the book, that you definitely consider getting the pre-order. And we will get the socks. We will get the book out to you as soon as it comes in. So we expect it to come in mid-September, but if it comes in before then we'll get it out to you before then. We have a Ravelry thread going for our 52 weeks of socks KAL. Look at rocking chairs, pretty. And that's where you could knit with any sock yarn you like, a pattern from the book. And we've had some lovely entries, and you could get your inspiration there if you want to see some finished socks from the book. I knit the very first pattern, funnily enough. I knit the intersection socks by Hey Brown Berry, who is Mars. And I'm trying to find them. I knitted these in John Arbon Exmoor Sock, which we will be getting more in of as soon as possible, coming soon. I know it's in the dye shop right now, being dyed up. So we will get more of that, and when we get them all in, we'll put them in the shop. So this is a huge book, hardbound, lovely fabric covered, and just full of these 52 socks, and in all different yarns too. So this makes me think about the sock sprint that we did last year. We did a sock sprint last July where Maggie and I knitted a pair of socks in 2 weeks, which is, you know, it's not that fast, but you know, it was focused, and some of you knitted along with us. So we are going to do that again, but we're going to do it in August, and maybe you'll want to knit patterns out of here. It will not be limited to this. It'll be probably more open than just the book. And I don't know what I'll be knitting yet, but I am looking for suggestions for sock yarn that you would like me to stock here at the Woolly Thistle. I know we love Woolly Mammoth's natural sock yarn, and I will get that in again as soon as she's able to stock it for me, but probably not in August. So what other sock yarns would you like? I'm not sure if you want me to get hand-dyed sock yarn from the UK here. I don't know. If you would like me to, then tell me which ones, and I will do my best. I would love to. Right, so yes, 52 weeks of socks is now a pre-order. If you're interested, do go and grab your copy, and we will ship it out to you as soon as it comes in, but hopefully by mid-September at the latest. Right, I just want to show you these are our colors. These are our signature colors, and what a terrible salesperson I am. They're all facing the wrong way. There we go, that's a bit better. These are our signature colors with names like Yarn Sniffer and Fearless Steaker. And actually today I'm wearing I Like Big Shawls. It's so funny. So anyway, these are out of stock right now, but I have placed an order, and I think that they'll be in stock by the time you see this. These are the pinks, which is another set, and then I've got a set of reds as well, and we can show pictures of them here. At the time of recording, those are getting very, very low, but these will be in. So we are really loving having the nail polish on for sure, and they're made for us exclusively by TaylorMade, but you can go check her out. Here's her website. She is a lovely, lovely lady who is a friend, and her business is making nail polishes. And it just went together like peanut butter and jelly, knitting and pretty nails. Right, so there's that. I'm hoping by the time you're watching this that Frangipani has been updated, that Lopi has been updated. I mean, we are low on Lopi, so that's all coming, including 0005, which is the black color needed for the rusty cardigan. So everybody who's waiting for the rusty cardigan is coming, and we will get those out toot sweet immediately as soon as we get that. You know who you are if you're waiting. for that, and thank you so much for your patience. You guys have been great. I really, really, really take it to heart that, you know, so many of you were willing to wait 2 months, and I didn't know when it was coming for sure, and it did get delayed, but you waited 2 months. Thank you so much, and I will be sending you a thank you for that. So we will have more rusty cardigans, Althea sweaters, Larsdatter sweater sets, and just regular, you know, plates of Plutolopi in, because there's no time like, you know, sweltering July to be knitting with Plutolopi wool. What? So, and we'll also have more Letlopi as well. So that's coming. Tuku wool will be getting a top up on soon as well, including fingering and sock yarn. And I'm hoping that they actually have their out of stock colors in now, because we've missed quite a lot of colors for quite a long time. Jamieson Smith is coming, West Yorkshire Spinners is coming, so I had to get busy after the sale because you cleaned us out pretty much, and so we will be stuffed to the gills with lovely wool here. Don't forget, free shipping on free US shipping on orders of $99 and up, or it's a flat rate of $9 in the US if you're under the $99 threshold. So try and get it over and we'll pay the shipping for you. Yeah, and the Sock Sprint is coming, and also very early notice that we will be doing another Sweater KAL. I think this year will be our 3rd year, and usually we do that so that you have a lovely sweater in time for Rhinebeck, but of course Rhinebeck's not happening, so we've pushed it back a wee bit because we've not got that deadline, but that will be coming down the pike as well, and that will be exciting and fun, and that's our big KAL of the year. But the Sock Sprint before then is coming in August. Marie Wallin, by the time you're watching this, I hope that we have lots and lots and lots of Marie Wallin's yarn in, and I've gone and ordered an awful lot of it because I'm hoping that you will take advantage of buying it now, because after August 1st, it will go up in price a wee bit. She's had to raise her prices, which means I've had to raise mine. Now, that's different than the shipping, and I want to really make it clear to you that shipping from the UK and anywhere else right now is astronomical because of COVID. And what I think it is there's less flights coming over, and so there's less vehicles for getting our yarn over here. So if you're buying from the UK yourself, you probably have noticed the price of shipping is ridiculous. And of course that is something I'm experiencing, but it's my mission to weather the storm for you and to continue to try and buffer that extra shipping cost. So I am eating that, and that's fine. That's my job, and that's my promise to you, is that you will not hopefully feel the effects of the shipping increases because of COVID. So that's what I can do for you. I can provide you this yarn, and I can also try and keep the price reasonable. But you know, that combined with actual production costs going up and increases and things, I do have to put the price of Marie's yarn up a little bit. But it's so worth it. It is absolutely gorgeous stuff. It really, really is. So I don't feel I'm being unfair. I feel like I'm being very fair, actually. So thank you for your support in that. So there's a lot in stock. If it's not in stock yet, it'll be right around the corner. But there's a lot on its way as I record this, which means we should hopefully have her British Breeds yarn sets in, you know, like Primrose or the Hawthorn. We have our books, Gentle and Wildwood. Both of those feature her British Breeds yarn. So we have all that. Now we're still waiting for Spindrift. Spindrift is just very delayed, which is unfortunate. But when we do get it all, we'll put all our yarn sets in stock, which include things like Marie's Yell cardigan and the Burra cowl and the Scary mittens and yeah, all the different sweaters that we have from her book Shetland and Meadow. So we just have to wait, but that's okay because we've got plenty to knit in the meantime, and just know that we are working on it and it will get here. It will get here when it gets here, and I'll let you know when that happens. What else am I looking at? I don't think there's anything else that I have to tell you about. I think though, I do want to say thank you so much for your lovely comments that you left on the last episode. Lots of you were saying, you know, talk about your family, talk about yourself, talk about life, talk about anti-racism, talk about things that matter to you. That was really, really encouraging, and I appreciate it very much. And I think it got me in my mind, thinking about, well, why do I knit? Like, what is the reason that I love knitting so much? And I think there are so many, many reasons for that. And I think one of them is just that it helps knitting, the act of knitting and holding yarn in my hands helps me deal with life. It helps me cope. It really, really does, because it's meditative, it's tactile, it's productive, it's also, you know, a process which you go back to time and again, and it's very steady. It's all that and so much more. So when you leave your comments today, please tell me in as many words as you want why you knit, because I want to hear if you're like me or if there's other reasons that you love knitting so much. I mean, for me, it became, you know, it went from picking up the needles again from when I was a young lassie back home in Scotland. I hadn't knitted for years, and picking the needles up and knitting my daughter a sweater. Because I'd found a bunch of blogs. That's what it was. I was reading blogs, and I was reading crochet blogs, and then I started reading knitting blogs, and then I found Kate Davies' designs, and then I started knitting again, and I knitted the owlet sweater for my daughter and just loved it. And then from there, you know, within a few months, I was recording my audio podcast called New Hampshire Knits, and from there I went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, where I was actually going home for my sister's wedding. So that was just 4 years ago this year, and just 4 years ago, God. And it was there that the light bulb moment happened of I should just import a bunch of yarn and set up a wee shop. And that's what I did in 2016, and the Woolly Thistle. And me talking to you here is out of that journey. What a journey. I mean, talk about being completely addicted to something and just it becoming more and more of my life. So what is knitting for you? How does it demonstrate itself to you? You know, it makes me really, really sad when I hear people say that they just are not getting joy out of their knitting right now because of what's going on in the world, and because some of us, most of us, will talk about what's happening in the world in our spaces, and that it's not just getting back to the knitting. That makes me sad that people feel like they can't take in how life is affecting people while they're knitting, and that it has to be exclusive from the enjoyment of their knitting. For me, I take such solace from my knitting, and that I know there's other knitters out there that care about other people, they care about themselves, and they care about other people. It's a human issue. So I take a lot of solace and strength from that. But what do you do? How does knitting serve you? What does it give you that keeps you coming back, keeps you watching podcasts, keeps you buying yarn, keeps you knitting, keeps you on Ravelry, keeps you looking for new patterns and new designers? What is it? I would love for us to have a good conversation about that, so do tell me in the comments. Well, I think all that's left to say now is if you go out, take your knitting and wear a mask, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.